Greg, go ahead and get started.
Jeff, how you doing today?
We're good.
Did anything stand out about Frank Harris's play when you got to watch it back on film? What were the big takeaways from his game?
A lot more confidence, throwing the ball on time. A lot of our run after catch was attributed to his accuracy and the ball coming out of his hand so much quicker. He just played a lot of confidence. He's worked very hard for 3 straight weeks in a row. He's worked as hard as I've ever seen him work. I was extremely proud of how he owned his play against Louisiana Tech, how he owned his play against FAU. I mean, for a young man to stand in front of the mic like he did and own all that shows you what makes Frank special. He's worked extremely hard, and I'm really thrilled for the kid to have that much success in a game we really needed.
Yeah, he was telling us after the game that his confidence really kind of took a hit based on his performance in some of those games, and he was a little down on himself. Do you have to sort of try to build him up, or what's the process of getting him back to this point?
I stand by what we preach and live by. You just got to go be great today. And Frank stacked a lot of great days on top of each other now, about 21 in a row. He's worked his tail off. It doesn't mean he's been perfect, but I know his effort's been fantastic. I talk a lot about that Titan data. We track these kids, and his energy that he's expending at practice is just through the charts, how hard he's actually working every day. So it doesn't surprise me that he's starting to have the success that he had.
When you look back at just the 4 incompletions, there was 2 that were like screen passes where he didn't have a good lane to the guy, and 1 that got batted down right in front of him. So really, like on the downfield throws, he was on point the whole day. Have you seen that kind of accuracy through the year, maybe in practice, or was that like a huge step up compared to what you normally would expect?
We've had our best. Wednesday and Thursday was the best we've been at throwing the football in tight situations. When I mean tight, 3rd down coverage, red zone, low red, high red. We really looked good Wednesday and Thursday. We had a lot of confidence. We have been getting better. He's just been getting better. The receivers have been getting better. We just made plays now. I mean, we plays we did not make against FAU, we made against UTSA. That's really the difference in the ball game. I'm not trying to minimize coaching. I'm not trying to blame anybody. I mean, obviously, Coach Lonnie did a great job, but our kids made plays.
Obviously, the protection plays into that, and you said that was a big focus last week. Was there something that changed there that allowed you to have an uptick and sort of see more and do better in that way?
We just worked harder at it. It was more difficult because of all the lineup changes. We just had a lot of different kids missing. I'm very proud of, Meach and Kevin Davis and Terrell Haynes. Obviously, I'm proud of Spencer and Mackay as well, but they got to be at home again. Spencer's got a few plays in there at left tackle now, and Mackay's got a few plays in there at right tackle. But those other 3, it's been fruit basket turnover inside there, and that's difficult. And those guys had good players in there, 54 and 7 and 11 and 47. They had good players. We thought we could get after their secondary a little bit, and we were right about that. But we knew we were going to struggle their down people, and we did.
Is Brendan Brady your best back in terms of pass protection? He seems to really shine in those situations a lot of the time.
All of our backs are really good at pass protection. Coach Griffin does a great job. Sincere, Kadrick, BJ, and Brendan both do it. All those guys do a great job protecting our quarterbacks.
And what's the outlook for Sincere McCormick to rejoin you guys? Was he back with the team yesterday?
No, he was not back yesterday, but his plane was arriving back yesterday.
So expected to practice normally through the rest of the week, I guess?
Yes.
Okay, Jonas.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Going back to Frank Harris, you had said multiple times during the season that you just got, like, with all the injuries at the quarterback position and kind of up and down the roster, that consistency was going to be a key factor. And consistency isn't something Frank has had the luxury of often in his young career. How much do you think that, I think it's now 4 consecutive starts for him, that's really playing into what we're seeing the growth week over week?
I couldn't agree more. There's no position that you have to play the game more to be good at than that position. So stacking all those reps, all the different looks, not to mention, he's had to change centers in there. I mean, that's hard as well. He's had 2 different centers in those 4 games. He hadn't had much consistency. You're exact with personnel, with just playing time, injuries. It's just been a lot. And I think your point's very valid.
So to that point, with Josh Adkins coming back from his injury, we saw him, the last 9 minutes on Saturday. There would be there's no really a QB battle at this point. No plan to go away from what Frank Harris is building on top of. Would that be accurate?
Yeah. When a kid goes 22 for 26 over 300 yards and plays the way he did, a quarterback battle would not be the way I would describe the UTSA Roadrunners. And Josh Atkins is a very good player, and I don't mean to minimize that at all. But we also had to it's never as good as you think, and it's never as bad as you think. Lowell, after the BYU game, had a very, very similar game to Frank, as Frank did in the UTEP game, right? So we all had to that was that game. The challenge I gave Frank on the sideline. Can he come to practice Tuesday morning with that same bitter taste in his mouth that he had after the FAU game and practice with that same energy? It's the same challenge I've given our coordinators, our leadership council, the head coach, Jeff Traylor. Can we come to work this week with that same bitter taste in our mouth after we left Boca Raton?
Great, thank you. Yeah, I had to ask. And then one last question. You said going into this weekend this last weekend that the goal for Saturday was to come out of the game injury-free. How did you guys end up showing up on that goal? Did you come out a little bit? And we saw some players banged up and getting up a little slow here and there. How's the state of the roster?
Yeah, Nick and Dan will have them all ready to go Saturday. We were very blessed. We had bumps, bruises, ankles, wrists, back, but we had nothing that's going to keep us from playing, we think, this Saturday. So we were very, very excited. We were so thin on the O-line, we couldn't have – KD was laying down one time, and we were all like literally on the sideline like, please get up, KD, please get up.
Got it. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Okay, Greg, back to you.
Jeff, we saw Tyke Kellogg score his first touchdown of the season in this game. Was that a meaningful moment for you guys, given the challenges he had to get through to get on the field this year?
Yeah, his play away from the ball is just as impressive as his play with the ball. His effort is fantastic. That he is really coming on for us. I'm so thrilled for that kid. He has overcome a lot, and man, he plays hard. And I tell my guys all the time, if they'll just give me perfect effort, I can get over some execution mistakes. Nobody likes to see bad snaps. Nobody likes to see fumbles on the 1-inch line. But, KD's giving me great effort, and so was Zakari. And that's what Tyke's doing for me right now. He's giving me perfect effort. And you can win a lot of ball games when you get kids playing as hard as they possibly can and believing in each other and playing for the team. It's amazing how far that goes.
Has he made a lot of progress just in the last couple of weeks since we talked about, those things away from the field that he was working on and building a buy-in to the team culture and that sort of stuff?
Very similar to what Jonas pointed out earlier is just that the consistency of being here every day and just stacking those great days on top of each other. There is no magic pill to this business. If it was easy, everybody would do it. The great teams can do it every single day. The average teams do it some of the time, and the bad teams do it when they feel like it. We want to be a great team. We got to stack great days every day, and Tyke's stacking a lot of great days on top of each other right now.
You mentioned the challenges and the adversity he's overcome this season. What do you point to as like the biggest things that he had to get through or the hardest hurdles for him?
Confidence, belief, off-field decisions, just stacking all those days together.
Okay, JJ.
Hey, Jeff, how's it going?
Good morning, JJ.
How would you say Jeff Slepp did with calling the game this past week?
Our entire defensive staff did fantastic. Jess was great. I've coached with Jess. I coached with him multiple years before we got here, so I've known Jess for a long time. I had no doubt in that. My concern was just that it got thrown on him so late in the evening and our prep time to get ready. But Rod Wright, Nick Graham were fantastic, and I've already mentioned all of our analysts and GAs that off the field, they were very confident. Our kids believe in the plan, and he did a fantastic job, as all of our staff did, in a very tough situation.
I saw that Larry Coker was in the locker room. Was that before the game? What did he say, and how did that message resonate with the guys?
It was awesome. First of all, when he came in there to talk to me, the true irony of Virginia Tech and Miami was the game we had on, and they were losing. And I teased him. I said, "You didn't do much of that." And he was like, "They're not done yet." And he was right. They came back and won. And then we had him talk to our kids. And first thing they wanted to do, like always, they wanted to see that national championship ring. So that got them all really juiced up. And just like he has so many times in his career, he spoke to our kids from his heart and how much he loves UTSA, how much he loves those kids and the way they play. And he just couldn't wait to watch them play and watch how they represented our university. And it was very well put from a very respected man that we all love. And we're so thrilled he wants to be a part of our program. And he said he had so much fun, he's going to come back for the North Texas game. So we can't wait to see him again.
I wanted to follow up from the post-game press conference. You showed us your journal, and you said you keep big thoughts in there. What are some of the other thoughts that you have in there?
I just write down things before the game, like my thoughts. So when I reflect back next year and we play UTEP, what I might have thought of them before the game. Then I write things during the game, like big things that come up that I know you guys might ask me about that I might need to remember. I write that in there. Then I write my thoughts after the game just to see where I was right or wrong, or things that I want to do better for the next year. So that's just kind of something I've always done, and it's helped me stay calm and not get too emotional and make a decision out of haste instead of out of wisdom.
Okay, Greg.
Jeff, 6 wins is usually a big milestone for teams. I know with no tie to bowl eligibility, that could be a little bit different this year, but do you still feel like that's a meaningful number for you guys to be chasing and to be closing in on this week?
Yeah, it's very meaningful because we're at 5 right now. So if we win Saturday, we're at 6. So the next one's always the most important. Went straight coach talk on you there, Brother Greg, but it's the truth, man. That next one's big because we're at 5. And obviously, when you're coaching a team that had no one on the preseason all-conference team, we were picked dead last. We were ranked last in the country. Only UMass was less than us, and they didn't even play. It's remarkable what our young men have done this season.
And you're getting ready to face Southern Miss. They've obviously had a pretty trying year in their own right with coaching turnover, COVID, injuries, some of the things that they went through. What do you expect from a team that's gone through that sort of challenges when you get to this phase in the season and get ready to go play them?
I see a roster with some kids that have won a lot of ball games, and they're still out there, and they play. They're good players. It's unfortunate what's happened to them, but they've got a lot of really good players, and they're going to give us all we can handle Saturday.
Do you feel like as you head towards the game this week that you have a little bit of more flexibility with the roster where not like last week where like one injury or one positive test would put the game at risk? Are you a little more comfortable with where you guys stand in that way?
Of all those kids, unfortunately, most of them were contact tracing, So they're out 14 days, where the guys that were positive, are only out 10. So we're going to pick up some, but not the number you think we'd pick up, right? So we'll be a little bit better. But heck, we tested this morning, Greg. Who knows? I mean, you're nervous every day, brother.
Do you guys have any further update at this point on whether the game with Rice could be rescheduled? Have you guys had any discussions about that recently?
No, sir. No one's communicated that to me. I'm sure Dr. Compost is in communication with the conference, but I have not had that communication with her about that recently.
I know JJ asked you about Coach Lepp, but overall, were you sort of pleased with the flow of defensive coaching and communication through the game, or was there anything you learned that you might want to do differently in future weeks?
No, those guys did a really good job of thinking through all that on Friday night. We got up Saturday morning, and we met again on it, and we practiced again. They were great. Now there's this week, the game planning, all that kind of stuff. We're figuring all that out as we go. But I have the utmost confidence in that staff. I have the utmost confidence in our players. And those guys didn't blink. Of course, in the beginning, they were a little taken back, but they calmed down and they did their jobs. I was extremely proud of our leadership on that defensive side. It was a very, very big win, and I'm really happy for our kids how they handled that situation.
Knowing you are not going to say anything about Coach Nick specifically, are you at least, are you proceeding as if this is going to be a long-term thing that you have to work around, or do you have any idea on the prospects for this to resolve?
I don't believe I'm allowed to comment on that situation, Greg. I think that's what I was instructed.
Gotcha. Well, just to get back to the game then, there was one play very early with Zakari where it looked like he was about to go in for the long touchdown, and UTEP knocked the ball out at the last second. Did you guys talk to him about that play, or how do you look back on that one?
If it would have worked, we'd all been clapping. And when it doesn't work, we're not clapping. He's a player. So, players make plays, and he didn't make a play there. So he also made a bunch more the rest of the game. The most important coach in Zakari Franklin's life is Zakari Franklin. And sometimes in life, all of us have to experience certain things before we make adjustments in our own lives, right? So I feel very confident in Zakari that he knows what happened, and I bet he fixes it this week.
In a more general sense, where do you stand on in-game discipline if something like that happens? Do you ever want to pull a guy for a couple plays or just talk to him, or how do you sort of handle a situation like that?
Nope. I believe in my guys. They're giving me perfect effort. We're rolling. I believe in players. And every player needs a coach, and every coach needs a player. And I got a bunch of players, and we're a next play mentality group. As long as they're giving me perfect effort, we're rolling. Now, they make fun of me for saying rolling all the time, but that's the way we look at it.
Whatever works, I suppose. So we also saw a lot of Oscar Cardenas in this game. What did he bring to the table for you guys? We haven't seen that many snaps from him typically.
Well, Gavin was out, so Oscar and Allen have been working their tails off in the background where nobody knows, and we've got a very good tight end room. When you can bring Oscar and Allen off the bench out there, that's two really good tight ends. Leroy's a very good tight end, and so is Gavin. So that's four. And Dan Dishman's a good tight end. Y'all haven't even seen Dan yet. I mean, Dan's a good player. So he's working. We got 5 tight ends we feel really good about.
What stood out about Oscar then that he was able to get all the snaps out of such a strong position group for you guys?
Well, Leroy, he's playing injured. He's just a tough kid. So we got to be smart with that. And Gavin's out, obviously. And Oscar's just been getting ready, slowly but surely. I mean, he's younger, but he's getting better every week. And he played really well. His technique was fantastic. He strained. He blocked extremely well. And it doesn't surprise me about Oscar. That's the way he is every day in practice.
And you touched on the shuffle with the offensive line, which we've seen week after week. it seemed like early in the game you guys had some snap issues, but it felt like it got corrected at some point and did not become a problem going forward.
Yeah, he was just holding on the ball a little long, which was making his snaps go a little high, and he just started releasing a little bit quicker, and he fixed himself during the game. And there's a great example of not overreacting and pulling a kid and putting the next one out there. You meet on a knee-jerk reaction. Let's all stay calm. Let's go talk to him. Let's get the snaps a little bit lower, and let's go ride. Let's roll.
And then on the flip side, defensively, how did you feel about the way your guys tackled in this game? What was your evaluation there?
We had 3 guys turn it down in the first half. That kind of upset me, but we got that straight at halftime. But other than that, we were fantastic. I thought the 21 points were a little misleading. We gave up the big one. Kim was right there. The second one, I believe we had the defensive holding, and we had the unsportsmanlike. And then the third one was a kickoff return. So, and the defense is in there with their heads all down, thinking they gave up 21. They did technically, but in my mind, there was a lot of factors. I preach it all the time, the triangle of toughness. That's team football. It's team football. And our defense, we got to help our team out with our special teams and offensively. You can't give the ball. I believe the play of the series of the game was when we snapped the ball over our head, right? And our defense went out there and 3 and out of them. We basically destroyed their field goal team, and the kicker missed it, and they called us for roughing the kicker. They had to kick it again, and we destroyed their field goal team again, and he missed it again. So when you turn the ball over on the 10 and they don't score, I thought that was a huge, huge turning point in the ball game.
Jonas?
Coach, you were mentioning earlier about your preseason ranking, right? And where we're kind of standing and approaching the 6-win mark. With all of that said, it almost seems like each week the marketing team, is putting out the records that are falling. You have 600 yards of offense this last week. Of course, you have one of the top rushers in the country, and Sincere McCormick, Zachary Franklin's reception record earlier on this season. Do you guys have that? And is that a little bit of a conversation at all in the locker room? Of course, you don't chase records until the final record of the season is done, and that's the one record that matters, right? But what's kind of that energy around the records going on?
We celebrate them after the fact. We don't talk about them before. The one historical record we've talked about is you can go play at a lot of colleges, and there's no way you're going to make history. It doesn't matter what you do, you're not going to make history. You can come play for us in the 7th largest city in the country, in the most beautiful stadium in the country, in my opinion, now in the nicest facility, quite arguably, in the country, and break records. We've had 3 winning seasons in the history of our school. We've been to 1 bowl, and we've not won a bowl. And we are very grateful for what Larry Coker did to start this program and how Coach Wilson continued that. But we have a real chance to make this in November to remember. And when you break the school record for yards in a ball game, when Zachary Franklin breaks another record, that's pretty cool, right? Our defense did not allow a point the whole second half. Those are cool things that we're going to recruit to it. But I tell my current team, some team is going to change the standard around here where we're never picked last again. We never don't have a player on preseason all-conference. That the standard is you guys wearing me out about which bowl are we going to, not are we going to a bowl. And we know we're not there yet. We know we realize that. We are a humble group, but we know we have a chance to make this something very special.
Great, thank you.
JJ?
Hey, Jeff, just to pivot a little bit, I noticed sending out recruiting offers for the next class, and this class is a little weird because of the super senior phenomenon. What's your plan on that, or how have you guys, talked about attacking that?
Yeah, because the number's still at 85, right? I mean, for every senior you keep, that number's got to come from somewhere. And obviously, with us not having any camps, no spring recruiting, we've got to have real inside information for us to take a commitment and a signing. So our class, I expect to be very small because we expect to bring back some of our seniors, which means our recruiting ranking might not be very good, which means y'all going to be beating me up.
Is your 21 class pretty much set?
Yeah, it is. There's a couple of things in there we got to get fixed, but we're pretty set.
Anything else for Coach Traylor? Greg?
Jeff, I just wanted to follow up on that quickly. Do you know, are they not going to expand the overall roster allotment to account for the extra seniors, or is that still kind of up in the air?
Yeah, I wouldn't know. My gut is I would expect not, but I would. If so, it'd make it a lot easier for us.
Got it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate y'all. God bless. Birds up.
Thanks, Coach.